crowd, everything. What was most impressive about what you guys were able to do to come back and win that game?
You know, the resolve that it takes and the mental toughness and not just the guys, the five on the court, but the guys on the bench, everyone just stood together and stayed together, and our huddles were impeccable. Our communication in the timeouts was maybe one of the best I've ever seen. All that stuff adds up to winning there, and you can't go in there and think you're gonna play a good 20 minutes. You can't go in there and think you got to go in there and play a A+ game almost, and that's what it took.
Cam said that they were let down after the Utah State loss, and what's strong about this team is they were able to forget about it and then go have an even bigger win. You agree with that?
Yeah, and that's everyone thinks that's easy. If you haven't been through it, and sometimes that takes time and takes a lot of mental work, and if you don't have the tools to do it, then you can't just say we got to do it, we got to be tough. You got to have the tools and what that specifically means and how you approach it and how you work through it, and that's what we face now today. The response from a loss and the response from a win is the same. You have to find a way to respond, and that's the beauty and the cool thing about competition and the cool thing about college basketball. It's especially when you're in a great league like this, you're from one to another, and so you just get to learn so much. You get to fight through so much, and you have to control your thoughts. Don't let your thoughts control you.
How different is it going from New Mexico to Air Force? It would seem like it would be a very different style to have to change from. So changing your mental look at what you need to do to be successful against it, how different are these two teams?
Yeah, and we've got a lot of experience playing at Air Force, and we know what it can do to you and what can happen to you if you're not ready to play a great game. Look at we all saw how talented UNLV was, and we're not dumb. We know what Air Force did to UNLV, and it's always about how ready you can get yourself and how you can prepare for what you're going to see there, because it's different. It's so different.
I love looking up stats, Leon. With you look at what you guys have done on the road the last 3 Januaries, you have a 923 winning percentage, best in college basketball.
It's crazy.
How impressive is that?
Well, Jay, you know what I always say about stats. There's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. So stats can be used for anything. I mean, we have some good examples of that. I mean, you can pull someone's 3 games. You can pull, okay, this guy's shooting 0% the last 5 seconds of a shot clock. And, what does that mean? They threw it to him at the end of the shot clock and he jacked it. So you always take what stats with a grain of salt here and there, whether they're good or bad. And that's a good one. That's a really good one. And that's a remarkable thing, because when you think about it, you might be able to schedule one of the, you look at some, maybe some teams that, okay, their month of November, they've never lost. Well, they played 4 guarantee games at home to start the year every single year. You don't get to do that in January. It's league games. So, I mean, that's a true measure of a program when you're doing that against league teams, because those are the ones that you're competing against the most.
Cam came in here with high expectations. It's his 7th year. Probably his last year of college ball. It hasn't gone his way, obviously, but he's still plugging.
Why hasn't it gone his way?
Well, he thought he came in here probably envisioned himself being a starter, not coming off the bench in that role, right? So, what does it say about him that he's still willing to come off the bench, give you quality minutes?
It's what it is the lesson that we need to all learn, and the lesson I try to teach these guys is that lesson exactly. I mean, you have a plan. You have a plan for your life. You have a plan for your goals. those are laughed at by God. You know, I mean, it's you have to be able to adjust. You have to be able to keep things in perspective. You have to be able to understand that sometimes you get what you need, not what you want. You know, and what he's gotten here is I was watching him at practice the other day, and if you would have watched him at practice the other day compared to when he first got here, you'd be like, man, look at this guy defend. Look at this guy rebound. And he'll be the first to tell you, like, well, it wasn't in his job description when he was a Division II All-American, because he was scoring 25 a game. And so the skills and the stuff that he's going to learn here, you know, he wants to play professionally. These are the things that will keep him, they will keep him to have, you know, with his skill set and all the stuff that he can do and how much better he's going to keep getting and the mental fortitude it takes to do this. Well, guess what? That's the next thing. When you're getting paid to do it, it's hard. It's a job, and the stuff you got to go through is nothing like college. And this is preparing him to handle any of those. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he'll play for as long as he wants. Now, that guy has a lot of outside interests where he's gonna, do a lot of great stuff and become a huge Bronco booster someday. But he's got all that stuff, but this is going to help him with that. This is going to help him with the setbacks he gets in business and in the real world, and it's just part of it. And
Tabor got to switch gears and go from scoring 30 points a night to worrying about defense.
it took a lot, and he and I have spent a lot of time talking about it, and I got some great boosters in this community that have really help mentor him in this, and one of them is Matt Bauscher. And, Matt's been through a lot in his professional career and his college career. And I think he gave Cam the big picture of, like, this is, understand, this is, you were a Division II All-American, you went to Kansas, all these things. You're going to look back on this as maybe one of your greatest accomplishments and the most prideful. And you just let that stuff go and you enjoy these moments, because he loves his teammates and they love him. And, think about what he's done. Like, we don't win the games we've won, especially these road ones. He's shown up big, and then not the home one. He's shown up big for us in so many ways on so many nights that if he wouldn't have wrapped his mind around that role and helping the team and embracing and reframing everything, he wouldn't have been able to do it. And that's what he's done a great job.
Talking, he's kind of
Nate, get a cougar on that. Let's go. Right? Isn't that what you say? Get a cougar on that. Isn't that what you say when you hit a foul ball and we need somebody to go get it? Where's it coming from? Good. I thought I was the only one that heard it.
Well, talking to Cam, it sounds like.
Isn't that what you say? Sorry. When you hit a foul ball, we get a cougar on that? Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Paul will probably the best introductory line in a press conference ever.
Really? Better than some of mine?
In this case, this one, his only one over you. Huskies may bite and bark, Cougars hunt and kill.
I gotta come up with a Bronco version of that, right?
You think on the Cowboys or something?
Yeah, or the Vandals. Brainstorming. Now you got me sidetracked. Sorry.
Camp really sounds like he's embraced this kind of defensive mindset. Just what have you seen, over the last year, from when he came onto campus, in his improvement in that side of the game?
It's just been amazing, and I'm so proud of him because, there's always a lot of pressure on these guys too. They think they have to come in and average 30 a game and be Michael Jordan and like Buzo. When we got Buzo, and we had high expectations, we knew how good he could be, and we knew, his first game he goes out there and fouls out in 9 minutes, and the world is like, oh, what a failure, and what a and look at the player he's become because of but in his mind he was coming here and it was going to be, basketball was going to be all hearts and blood. No, not in his mind, but in the world's mind, like, oh, he's going to average 30 a game. And But that's not the reality of playing at a level like this. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but it's that persistence, that consistency, that toughness to keep going, toughness to get better, and all that stuff. And in the end, you produce a career like those guys are having. And, the memories and the battles that these guys will share forever are priceless.
This may be a simple answer, but having his body frame down low, being able to block the shots, defend the rim, just how nice is that to have?
Oh, and feel for the game. Understand, he's one of the best feel for the game guys, especially at his position. That maybe when I think about guys that size, I just, like Nick Duncan comes to mind, as far as high level feel, guard feel, all that stuff. It's a short list of guys that with that good of a feel that play that spot, and so he's I know how valuable he is, and I know how valuable he is to our program. He wasn't maybe seeing it as clear as we were as far as what he could bring to this team, regardless of scoring.
You've got a handful of guys on this team this year that have not played against Air Force before.
Which is scary.
Yeah. So what is the biggest thing you want to bring them up to speed against? I mean, the Maxes, the Buzos, Tyson have played, but I'm thinking Anderson.
Yeah. That's good because it's both offense and defense, and I mean, we've got a long history. I've been in this league for 13 years, and a lot of games against Air Force, and some highs, some lows, it is. It's funny because as coaches, we walk away. The more you look at them, the more you watch them, you're like, okay, why doesn't Duke run this offense? And it's unstoppable. It's so when it's clicking, it's a thing of beauty. But it takes a special, it's like the wishbone. The wishbone is they still call it the wishbone, or what does Air Force call it? Triple option. When it's clicking, like this year, at the start of the year, I was watching Air Force football, and I'm like, my God, that's a thing of beauty. Why doesn't everybody run that? But that's what I've said about this, their basketball. And Joe Scott's one of the best in the world at coaching this. And so you got to get a right mindset of how to deal with it and what you're going to see. And that's both on offense and defense. So it's a whole different animal to play against.
I know plus minus isn't everything in basketball, but Jace was plus 12, led the team. And
it was great.
You got those 2 early fouls, and you against that pressure and stuff, for Jace to come in and have no turnovers and just to play the way that he did and kind of steady things.
No, huge game for Jason. That's our job as coaches, and it's hard. And what I mean by that is you're trying to get everybody to play up to their potential. And guys go through stuff, ups and downs, and so you fix this, you think, and then you're going over here to fix this guy, and then if you get all these guys clicking together and playing their best, because we all have seen, you guys have all kind of seen these guys when they're playing their best, and it's pretty spectacular. So you're always trying, because Jace went through some ups and downs, and to have Jace doing what he does well, embracing it like he's embracing it, that was great, and it saved us. But collectively, if you would have told me that you're going to go 39 minutes and your point guards will have 0 turnovers in those 39 minutes, I'm like, wow, we got a chance. We don't have a chance if that's not the case. They were terrific that way.
Did you have some heart-to-heart with him, or these last 3 or 4 games, what's kind of changed for him?
You're always having that, and our assistants do a great job, and it's so nice to have Lexus here, who's played here not long ago and was a point guard here and was a great leader. A lot goes into it. So much, because that's the X's and O's. That's huge. You got to have confidence in the X's and O's. But the most important thing is your culture and your players and your mindset, and that's really the most important job we do. And you're dealing with 19 to remember, you used to say 18 to 22. Yeah, you're dealing with 19 to 30-year-olds, and that can go any way. And then you're dealing with people. I don't care if you're 30 or 40 or 50. People have ups and downs, and we all have issues, and we all have battles that we're dealing with, and outside influences that you're dealing with, and just so many factors. And to try to help these guys through what we have these shirts that say mental health matters. It's the most important thing, and whether you call it mental health, whether you call it the right approach, whether you call it mindset, that is the most important thing in a basketball team and an individual. And we try to, you not try, it's always a priority, and it's always what we're working on, and you're always, that's what I lose sleep over 24/7. That's what we're chained to, and we think about, and that's my job, that's our assistant's job, it's everybody in the program, and that's where our culture is strong, and we help each other, and we pour into each other. That's the value of having great guys that'll do that for each other. And that's the cool thing, and I'm maybe on a rant here, but it's one of those most special things I've seen is the way Jace and Roddy have supported each other. They could be in competition completely, and they have been marvelous in the way they supported each other and helped each other and rooted for each other. And, that's a testament to both of them and to our culture.
You bring up how well you played ball in New Mexico. You could almost throw Tyson in there with how much, he kind of brought the ball up the court.
Correct.
He didn't have a turnover. How much, you get his stat line, not typical for Tyson, but him doing that, how much did that help you guys? And
Right.
I know, I'm sure you and Dury put on your caps of how you're going to,
Mm-hmm.
this team, and how big of a part of it was that?
That was huge, because when you have a guy like Tyson that, the first possession, they throw it back to Tyson, he brings it up. I think New Mexico's like, what? Darn it, I didn't know you were allowed to do that, because they love harassing those point guards. And, and then Max helped with it, and, we all contributed. And, you're not going to go, it was kind of a common sense thing that one of the best steal guys in the country, why expose yourself to that over and over and over again? Sure, you got to get it to your point guard to be able to get into a flow of things at some point, sometimes, but it was like, wow, you don't want to go against that for 40 minutes. It's gonna happen. The guy had 6 steals in a game, and he's certainly capable of that every time on every possession.
You mentioned a couple times that shooters going through droughts is just kind of a fact of life.
Yeah.
They got to stay confident, keep shooting it. I got to imagine that takes some impressive mental toughness to be able to do that. Is that something you've always seen out of Max, or is it kind of been a journey for him? You've always seen that with every shooter, not just Max. But yeah, what he did down there was really amazing. Like I said before, sometimes he doesn't get the proper credit because who he is, because it was such a toughness thing. I don't think I've ever played a guy 38 minutes at altitude like that. And before every media timeout, I'm like, okay, I can get him out now. Well, the first media timeout, he shot an air ball. I'm like, well, I don't want to take him out now. Let him shoot himself out of that a little bit. Well, then it seemed like right before every media timeout, I either made one or I looked at him like, are you okay? And he kept saying the same thing over and over again, which is so Max. He said, we came here to win. It wasn't about how much he was scoring. Every basket he scores is for the team and to win. That's all he cares about. And that's always who he's been. He's played with a herniated disc, with hips, with all this stuff, does all these different things for the team. And it's always about the team. He doesn't care about his stats. Like I said, they throw it to him at the end of the shot clock. He'll shoot it, hoping we can get a rebound, not to pad his stats, not to just take a shot clock because, I can't shoot that because it'll hurt my stat. So that's why stats can be deceiving and all those kind of things, because when guys don't really care about that, and they care about the right, look at his career here, how many games he's helped this, huge games that got us, that win last year at San Diego State here secured us in the tournament. And, so I hope we all appreciate, this place is special that way. To expand on that is this place is really, really special that way as far as the way this community embraces our athletes. We preach family, and it's a unique city. It's a unique fan base. But keep that in mind that means something to these players in this modern era. They react to social media. They read it. They know it. So when the kicker misses one, guess what? He didn't miss that on purpose. When the quarterback throws an interception, he didn't, keep that in mind that it's important to these guys, and this community is important, and they feel like they let the whole community down when they don't do it. So they don't need to be attacked and But that being said, in full honesty and disclosure, because I'm sure it'll come out and I'm sure we'll talk about it, and so I'll be transparent now, is a bunch of those haters of Max were me with burner phones because I knew what it would do to his motivation, and it worked. It was one of the greatest coaching things I've ever done, and so I think Max will thank me for attacking him on social media, because I think it made him play the game of his life. Yeah. So, I mean, isn't that, that's spectacular genius right there. That's not just genius, that's spectacular genius, right? But it's funny because like I always say, you get what you need, not what you want. Well, he didn't want that, but hey, in the long run, maybe that helped in a way. Who knows? I'm not encouraging that behavior. I'm just saying that you just got to have, and that goes back to my original. You just keep plugging away, and you have faith, and you do the right things that, and things work out, and it works out the way it's supposed to. But like I said, this team is so proud of him. But not just him. Like I said, everyone did their job at a tremendous. I mean, our bench was spectacular, and the coaches are always doing their job. They're amazing, but it was the best. Maybe our scout team, or guys that hadn't played minutes, the guys that want to play minutes, all those things. They just put everything into that, and like I said, their influence and their talk was the best I've ever seen. It was that, and that's what you're building. That's what you're always trying to build as a coach, is that kind of culture that you can take it on the road and be able to do something like that.
Can you remember the first time that you realized that Max has that it factor in terms of mental toughness?
Yeah, there was, absolutely, because he wanted to be a player so bad. That's all he wanted in life, and he would, as a little kid, he'd be that guy that just the ball went in, and we got so used to it. Like, I'd call home, like, "Oh, how'd Max do today?" And Robin's like, "I didn't play very good." And I'm like, "Really? What did he do?" And she'd say, and then she'd tell me or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, he was just okay." And then I'd talk to another dad or something that was there, and he'd be like, "Oh, Max had 30 today." I'm like, "Well, God, not according to Robin or whoever, So you kind of got accustomed to it. But as he grew, I remember there was a day when he was in junior high, and I went to one of his games, and there was a lot of little Idaho kids running around out there, and Max said something about being a Division I player, and I said, "Well, I went to your last game. I didn't see any Division I players out there." Well, the next game he got about 50, and I'm like, all right, he was challenged. I mean, he's had that. That's always been his deal when he was challenged, and I was being honest. I mean, on that day, the previous game, I didn't. Well, the next day I was like, well, that kid's got a chance. If you go out and get 50 in a game the way then without, screwing up the game and just shooting it every time and that kind of stuff. It was a legit deal. And, so he's always been that, where the challenge, and he can raise to that level. He's got he's got that competitiveness like that that's unique.
New Mexico this year, they took such a big jump, like in their defensive metrics.
Mm-hmm.
Really good defensive team you guys play. Obviously, they want to disrupt you guys, so at times when they require you to go off script, how good was Max at doing some of those things against you?
Yeah, we were, but not to disrespect your question, but that's exact what you're saying right now is exactly what our team has to fight, what we all have to fight. We're still talking about that. No, that's wrong. Well, we have to be. Today's Friday. I gave him a little extra time maybe for this recovery because it was special. It was a special night, special win, all that stuff. That door is shut. We're not talking about that game anymore. We talked about with you guys because I didn't see you yesterday. But this is about we are about Air Force, about us, about our mindset of what we're playing for right now. That's the past. Like I said before, and it applies to wins, it applies to losses. This car doesn't have rearview mirrors. It doesn't. We rip those off. We've got a task in front of us tomorrow that we need a great crowd. We need great energy in here. Look at the last team that assumed that they were just going to show up and beat this team at home.
they got destroyed, you know. And so out of respect for what have to do tomorrow, I'm not, it's done. We're looking out the front window, not back, not sideways, we are looking at the front. The past is the past. We'll regroup, we'll celebrate all those things later and whatever. But we don't have many of these days left together. And this has been a special, special group. And if you would have told, and this is the message we'll talk about today, if you would have told me where we sit today, if you told me that in September and what we're playing for and all the great things that this team's doing and these great moments we've had, if you told me that in September, you'd be like, this would be the most exciting day of the year to get this opportunity that we get tomorrow. And that's the way we're going to embrace it and approach it and get after it. And these guys will, and that, you know, that's the message, that's what we're doing, and that's our mindset.